Good morning, Rock Church family. It's your boy, Pastor Pete, and I'm so excited to have you here once again with us in our second week of our series, Thy Kingdom Come. And so I just want to share with you this morning as we go into our word this morning about how God has been so good to us in our church. And I just want to remind you to stay connected through our Bible studies that now happen on Mondays at 7 o'clock, and then our prayer time on Thursdays at 7 o'clock. And so that's the rhythm of the week for our church. Worship on Sunday mornings at 9 o'clock, and then we have our Bible studies at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and then Thursdays we have our prayer time at 7 o'clock. And so last week we opened up our series on Thy Kingdom Come and looking at the Lord's Prayer from the Gospel of Matthew. And last week you were asked to pray and think about prayer, and we talked about God's goodness, how God is safe, how God is love, and how God is our Father. And so when we looked at the Lord's Prayer, we started with our Father. He's not just your Father. He's not just his father or her father. He's not the father to a white community or a black community or an Asian community or Spanish-speaking community or whatever community, but he is our Father. He is good. He's an ever-present parent. And today we're going to talk about the holiness of God's name and what implications it has for us as his children, as his holy children, and the names we consider to be sacred when it comes to God's names and other names that we'll talk about later on in the message. And so I want you to look at the Lord's Prayer this morning in the context. Now listen to this. I want you to look at the Lord's Prayer. As we do our series this month and going through the Lord's Prayer of Thy Kingdom Come, I want you to look at it in the context of our current culture and current climate in our country today. All right. As we pray, as we embark on this series, this is the posture that we lean into when we are looking at the instructions of Christ and how he is teaching us to pray this model prayer, which is known as the Lord's Prayer. And so let's look at Matthew chapter number 6, verses 9 through verse number 13. I'll be reading the ESV translation, and it reads like this. Pray then like this: Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily